got another strong sister with us tonight.
That's right. Thank you.
This is Erica Warrior. She's with us here tonight.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful story, and it was so nice to be a part of it and to listen. Planet Wells, we haven't had a chance to meet yet, but it's so nice to see you.
Hi.
I've been a fan of of all of you all's work for several months now. I've been listening for I guess, almost a year.
Mm,
But I am honored to be here.
excellent, excellent. Honored to have you.
Thank you.
Well, could you tell our audience your story and what
So,
brings you here?
I've been listening to you all and following you on YouTube because over the past few years I've been on a journey myself to try to find my indigenous heritage or ancestry.
Mhm.
My grandmother passed away 4 years ago when she mentioned to me that we had indigenous ancestry and that her father was really Native American, and I just thought she was lying, to be honest with you. She was a very fair skinned woman, and I just thought she just didn't deny, she wanted to deny her African heritage. And I've always been really proud of my African heritage and being a
Mm,
black woman
mhm.
in America. My parents are, they had the afros and just very Afrocentric back in the day, and proud to be black too. So I just thought, oh, my grandmother's light skinned, my grandfather's like brown skinned, and she's just a victim of her time. Long story short, she passed away. I started digging, and lo and behold, I found it.
So could you share what your findings, if you could?
Well, I started searching my ancestors on ancestry.com, and I get really emotional when I talk about it because
Mm,
I could have gotten so much information from her, but I was just so close to it that I didn't ask her a lot. I wasn't as curious as I should have been. But when she passed and I started going through her house and going through records and finding old photos, I started
mhm.
unearthing a lot of documents. And I remember her telling me that we were Blackfoot. And I started researching and I said, there's no Blackfoot in South Carolina. She's from South Carolina.
Okay.
Long story short, after I searched my ancestry back to the 14th century, and I found all kinds of tribes: Powhatan, Tuscarora, Nottoway,
Not away.
and that's on my father's side. So that's something else. On my father's mother's side, she told me that they were Native American. She said her father was Native American.
Okay.
My grandfather, who died when my father was about 6 years old, we didn't know much of his history, but we did know that he was related to Nat Turner and Pearl Bailey.
Okay.
So I started digging and digging and digging, and I asked some cousins on Facebook, and they said, "Oh yeah, we do have Cherokee blood. We have Nottoway, and some of us are actually a part of the tribe." I had no idea. All this time, I just thought I was a quote unquote black person. My ancestry means a lot to me because I like to know who I am. I want to know where I come from. I remember when I was in my 20s working in Virginia. I'm from Maryland.
Okay.
And this young lady from Central America said to me, "Oh, you're black. You don't have culture. So you would understand that."
So I noticed that you named a lot of tribes down
Hmm.
there in South Carolina, and a lot of them tribes didn't originate there. So, and we talked earlier, and you hinted at the amalgamation of different cultures, and even within the indigenous circle and other outsiders amalgamating in the South. Could you expand on that?
Well, there's two different branches. So my grandfather was originally from North Carolina. Well, I'm sorry. He was from Southampton, Virginia. Some were from North Carolina. And my grandmother was originally from Cheraw, South Carolina. And I believe they met in Virginia. So my grandmother was from a little town called Cheraw, South Carolina, in which I later found that there's a Native American tribe called the Cheraw Indians, and they have very long roots there, very deep
Mm,
roots there in that area.
mhm.
And it was so funny listening to Janine talk because my grandmother would have me looking online for land. And she even said to me, "We have our family members have a lot of land down there." So I paid a visit after she passed to South Carolina. And lo and behold, I found several hundred acres of land. But they were owned by her European family members who she had no contact with.
Mm.
And I asked to meet with him. He refused to meet with me. But anyway, so you asked me about the different tribes. On my grandfather's side, they were near Gansett, which I didn't even know that was a tribe until last year. They were Cherokee and still are Cherokee, not away, and Mohawk. I'm just unearthing all kinds of tribes, and eventually they just kept merging. On my grandmother and my grandfather's side, I found Powhatan tribes on both of their sides.
And that's for me as well. So, do you say that we should be looking for our ancestry through our genealogy and also be accepting of what we find?
Hmm. Yes, most definitely, most definitely.
I agree. What do you think about that, Planet?
Well, I think that this is a multi-layered trust, you know,
Yeah.
and each of us endowed by the Creator, right, has special gifts. So we all need to use our gifts. And when we can come together based on something specific, then of course we support, you know, the other families to acquire their land. Now, one of the things that uh, Janine is working with um, is the legal system, right? Now, the legal system has a kind of a caveat in it because, okay, you have, I believe, that the legal system, its origin, right, was to be able to steal land in Europe, here, wherever. That was what it was about, right? Because in an intelligent society, you should just be able to go in there and tell the truth, and that's it, right? But here, right, it would behoove one to have a lawyer. So you say, well, why would I have to have a lawyer? A lawyer, because the court literally has a different language. Okay, right? And then you get into, well, you have to afford a lawyer, right? So that takes a lot of people out of the mix right there, right? But the caveat is this: they created the law to keep stealing the land and protect them in the land, right? That's the caveat. Because within the law, right, once you establish that you were here and you have certain legalese, showing that, right, you have a case that you can roll with, right? So that's to me, that's how it backfires. A lot of people say, oh, you don't need a lawyer. Yeah, well, there's a lot of people in jail that don't have lawyers, believe me.
Hmm.
Never had them. Okay, and it's something that we have to learn not to be afraid of, but to utilize it for our mutual outcome.
Okay. All righty. Well, it's awesome to see, and in this movement that we've been talking about, like you said, you've been listening in, Erica Warrior, to us for the last year, and it's awesome to see that our women is on the front line.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
100%.
I appreciate that. I've been traveling over the past maybe 4 years or so, going to different hometowns of my relatives and ancestors, searching legal documents at libraries and wherever I can meet people and talk to. I try to reach out and get as much information as possible. I see now this is a huge movement, and I see that we're waking up. I think I honestly do think it's a grand awakening,
Hmm.
and I think that we were trying. They were watering down our DNA in some cases, and I think it was very intentional. I think that they do, like you just said about the Planet Wells, about the legal system.
Hmm.
They don't, just like I was watching the movie Sarah's Oil,
Hmm.
and that poor girl, her family went through it, and
Correct.
I mean they've always been stealing from us, and this is why they don't want us to know who we are, because we're owed a lot more than reparations.
Right,
Correct.
right. You know,
Now it's just a matter of putting it all together. Yes, history did. It has bamboozled us. That's why they say, everybody says that's why it's called his story.
so could you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay. Max V, could you hear me now? Yes, they did.
Yes, they did steal it all.
It's all about the frequency because the land holds uh, a certain connection to the earth, right? And
Hmm.
so when you're trying to uh, erase a people, right? You want to get them off their land, right? Or off their property. Yeah. So you can easily see their device. In Hawaii, with the you got I saw the other day. You got homes for 25, $30 million. So they're using economics so that the people can't stay on their land. This is a small island. You know, um, but it's the same principle that is done on the mainland,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So
And they're
what do you,
panicking now for resources.
you know, so this made me think about Mama Ning's perspective in her fight. You know, what do you do when you struggle in a society? Then you find out that you have a land patent, which a land patent shows you that you're the original owner, and then there's stipulations within this land patent talk about being heirs forever or forever titles. And do you fight for this? Like she was saying, you got lawyers that got other alternative motives. They're within the system, like you said, Planet. So it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation that we are facing. But I say that it's a situation we shouldn't stop. It's a situation that we all can learn from one another on. You
Well,
understand me?
yeah. Well, as she said, um, in her situation of the bamboozle, is that after that first situation she was in, the lawyers and the judge or whatever came to her and says, "No, well, now that we solved that, but could you sign over the the
That's
land, the certificate, right?" So if if it was not important, they wouldn't have asked for it.
hmm
So one of the things is when you do discover that you have a patent, secure it, right? Whether that's whatever, a safety deposit, whatever you got to do to secure it, right? Because you may not be in um, you may not have what you need right away, but just having that, you know, one day you will, and that question will come up. Well, who has the patent? And then that's when you go in your bag and say, I do, right? And uh, it's important to have, even in harsh situations, a positive attitude, right? Because in other words, you may come into a situation, Erica, where you're right there, right? But you don't have the funding, right? So you got to know to hold it, keep it, right? Because uh, there's this old saying that my mother used to always tell me: God works in mysterious ways, right? Wonders to behold. It can come from anywhere at any time, right? So when you hold to what's right, the other will come. It will come.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep
You know,
going. Keep
it
going.
it will,
And
right?
we got our chat is blowing up. They having some good conversations in there. So let's see what's
Mm-hmm.
going on in there, you guys.
I love that comment. Ancestral remembrance is even more powerful than an atomic bomb.
True.
That's the truth. I feel so empowered since I've discovered that part of me is certainly indigenous to this land.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's even for me. I think that's what got me on my path and out here learning about myself. So everybody, if you listen to me, I'm a grand proponent on genealogy and learning your ancestry. I done came across even the same thing, land patterns. And I done came across land patterns connected to treaties. So it's like I was trying to express is it all depends on what stage of this effort you're at. You got a lot of people that already them reclaim their identity, and then you got a lot of us coming into the fold of reclaiming. So
Hmm.
I just think that we just just need to be collectively patient with one another.
Yes. I
Absolutely.
agree. I agree. Like sometimes people get so upset when you still refer to yourself as black or African American or whatever have you. And I just think to myself, we have to come around when on our own terms. And it's hard. I have I know I have some African ancestry, a lot of it. I think that we are all intertwined and connected in some way and they all met here. But
Yeah, and
but we
in
have
some
to.
sense,
Mhm.
kind of ignore the suffering of the ancestors when you limit who you are, and then does it is it any legitimization into saying that you're not one thing or the other as being quote unquote us? I done got into the habit of using the terms like more us instead of African American, Negroes, or
Mhm.
black, and you know, saying us. I'm talking about us.
Right.
But that us is a multi-ethnic us since the beginning, so to
Mhm.
speak. But
Mhm.
if you're talking about your indigenous, that's multi-ethnic as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just to say
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And when you tune into, the original frequency, and you go back and you go back and you go back, you find that we're all of it,
Right,
right?
right,
Mhm.
And you must remember where you came from and how you got here. So who else could you be,
Mm.
right? Because once again, the Great Spirit didn't go to Walmart to make you,
right.
Right.
right?
The
Or
awakening is coming.
J.C. Penney. Okay. So one is more powerful than one knows,
Mhm.
you know, because, actively you have trillions of cells, right? They ain't tripping,
Mhm.
right?
This is
And they have, sometimes in the body, they have different skirmishes,
so.
right?
This is a comment from our Nasa. She say in the mid 1800s, my relatives, military, were given land out west, but we are on the eastern coast.
Mm.
Hard to obtain additional info. And I find out in my research that a lot of soldiers were given land grants. I think Janine hinted at that when she
Mm-hmm.
was talking about how You got to remember she was talking about land patterns in the 1820s and 1830s.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is well before emancipation time.
Right.
She talking about these is free people of color
Mm-hmm.
moving around and,
Hmm.
and, and gaining patents. You know what I'm saying? So the research is needed. Like I
Yeah,
said before, we are not the same. Our story is not the same, but collectively as one is the same when you add all the pieces together.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm realizing.
And
You know what?
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I was just going
No,
to
you.
say about Awanasa. I, for maybe the past 3 years, instead of taking a luxury vacation, I would go to my ancestral homeland and research. That would be my vacation. So sometimes you may have to just pick up and go. In fact, I suggest that that's what you do because it's
Mm-hmm.
when you're in person, you're building those relationships and researching right there on the ground. You can get a lot more done.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's deep French wee wee.
Hmm.
I think a lot of you're gonna take a lot of hard heads to figure that one out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how was you guys weekend? Just talking about current events and how you guys
Uh-huh.
weekend, so we could transition to something else. You guys
Well,
get
yeah, it's interesting the Nolan Wells uh situation, you know, and what it reveals is just from a novice, someone who's not there and don't, not particularly a personal relative or anything like that, but you can tell that there's some deep trickeration, period. Period. Yeah. And uh that that can never be you can never lose that um when you're dealing with this type of neurosis and sickness, you know, and they always want to remove history from the mix, right? And it's not that it's a particular situation that has to be one way or another, but the people simply are asking, you can't rule anything out. But even that seems offensive, to come on now. Let's be real. Let's be real, you
That
know.
that's I was actually going to bring that up because how I have three. I always say three boys, but my children are older. They range between 19 and 22, but
Mm-hmm.
all of them are three boys and or three young men now. And when I see stories like what happened to Nolan Wells, it drives me absolutely insane. On one hand, then it starts burning a fire inside of me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it hurts. It hurts a lot as if he was my son.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, what can I do? I start seeing people on social media talking about it, talking about it, talking about it, and I just said we have to keep talking about it.
Absolutely.
How is it possible that he is missing his throat? I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand it. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
understand it. How is he missing his throat? And it's sad because Hannibal asked how was our weekend, but I remember on Friday I had to go to the mall. I never go to the mall anymore. I had to go to the mall to go to the Apple store,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate to say it, but I saw a, a brown, black, whatever the young man
Mm-hmm.
is walking with
Mm-hmm.
two friends, and they were white.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found myself looking over him like, what are you doing with them? And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
you can't think that way, Erica. You cannot think that way. Some people have relatives, obviously, who are of the other persuasion or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at everybody like, be careful, stay away, stay away. But then I think to myself, like, the enemy wants us to be so fearful at the same time. But and that's
Correct.
true, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, it really it just it hurts and it's frightening because I do feel it's very intentional that they're trying to come after our people for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It feels very
And it's
targeted.
and it's multi-layered,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But that doesn't excuse that you must be aware.
Mhm.
You just have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to. You
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, the way I was raised. Look, listen. If they hadn't heard from me, trust me, it would be a big thing, right? And the idea that your friends are not informing
Mhm.
your parents of what time it is, or like, no,
Yeah.
he laid back or whatever, whatever the scenario. But the fact that they didn't, that's out to me.
Yeah.
That's like,
I know.
you know.
I know.
Much love, Tony.
I did this on Saturday. I went to do a little digging. I live in Maryland, in Prince George's County, Maryland, and so I went to a few sites that are known to be, uh, or where the Piscataway tribe dwelled.
Mm-hmm.
And one location in particular was called Fort Washington Park, and is known for a battle. But I couldn't help as I walked around thinking to myself, these look like mounds. The way how hilly the grounds are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked to a um, what are they? Not a guide, but a park ranger. And he couldn't come on. I was going to try to record him talking so that way I can research it a little bit more. But he agreed and said that it is quite curious, but we have to do more research.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was nice, and I'll put together a little something, and I can bring it back another time and post it online even.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, that's something that Donnie always talk about. Mounds being up there in Maryland.
Mhm.
He always talk about what's the name of that mall?
Oh yeah,
Monument Mall.
the one in Baltimore.
Yeah, in Baltimore. He said he think that sits on a mile.
Mhm. Yeah, I have to go there too. Okay, Tahunga.
Yeah, so
Yeah, or on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
we had
Absolutely.
a nice, empowering, and informative show tonight, and I
Okay.
believe a lot of information was given to our audience tonight. As far as doing research and knowledge about historical events and historical places and things, and learning legal jargon and learning how the difference between states and federal rules and courts and stuff. So I think that the awareness and the awakening is on.
Mhm.
I can't say no more
Mm-hmm.
about it.
I agree with you. Let me ask you all a quick question.
Mm.
Do you feel like, and I'm sure you said it before, and I just don't remember. Do you feel it necessary to gain tribal affiliation?
For me, in my group, I think it's not advantageous for us to join the tribe because of the historical um, deeds that was done to us to enslave us. So I don't think it's advantageous for us to join
Mhm.
the modern quote unquote Creek Nation or
Mhm.
Muscogee Nation.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, so I think everyone's. I think if you do find yourself wanting to join a nation, is up to each individual. But I'm just speaking for me and my group.
Mm.
You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, my feeling is, me personally, I don't go anywhere where I'm not invited.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
You know, if if uh if I interact, but once again, it may be different, but when I interact with people, Um, if they're not delighted
Mhm.
with my presence, I ain't with it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
And I ain't begging nobody. What?
I
No.
respect that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I'm
I ain't
just
doing that.
I was wondering too. Somebody asked me that recently, and I just thought, and here we are with I hope I'm saying her name right, Arnasa. I was wondering if maybe if at some point if we all could just the people just like us just form our own, you know. So
I think in a sense we kind of got it. I think we just got to do more of
mhm.
investing socially into one another,
Yep.
meaning that collective buying and um, collective educational goals and doing things to build the communities that we're established in now. Because I pounded that ideal about becoming a tribe or joining the tribe and subjugating my people into another group or another governing force when this governing force was part of the situation we're in. And I think that most of us gonna find that to be the case
Mhm.
when we go back and really dive deep into these quote unquote tribes that we descend from. So I think that as as we do come into the awareness, those of us who do have these certain clan affiliations or tribal affiliations, we can do like community networking. I think that's probably better, like doing like social co-ops, teaching us how to grow things and teaching the children how to fend in this world. I think that's probably more better instead of being saying, "Well, I'm such and such. I descend from this tribe, and
Mhm.
you can't be a part of us because you don't descend from these people, or I'm not this and you're not that." And I think that's gonna make us those who oppressed us in the first place.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that attitude is leading us to that.
Mhm.
Also, in a legal situation, when you have, like the sister has the patent, right? You don't need tribal. You got the patent. That's your people. Now, if you know, like in other words, you got on the religious scene, you got people who are Baptists, you got people who are Catholic, you got people who are, you know, Adventists and this, that, and the other, right? But they also have their name and their family. That's who they are when they are in a legal situation. Don't nobody care about none of that, right? So you have to hold to your thing. Now, once again, if there is a heartfelt invitation, right, and you really feel that, then this is you can make your decision how you see it.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm. That's a good point.
Okay. I don't mind assimilation back into my tribal nations and doing my part within those communities, but I will not be a mascot or disrespected if there's obvious prejudice.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There's another one. We need a trust to accumulate land and build,
Hmm.
but think that is still like Planet was saying, it's still mechanisms set within the system to, in some sorts, kind of dismantle a trust. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Because it can be like one person, like Janine said, that the court was trying to say that in, well, I think in the 1840s, that they were trying to say that someone sold the shares. So so you got to really be thinking about fail safes when you're trying to establish certain things.
Mhm.
So
Right. Because
Yeah.
it's multi-layered. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
figure out how it can be maneuvered and taken away in the future generations to come.
Yeah. That's all. I was looking at and I'm really deep spiritually grounded and receive messages and
Mm-hmm.
and stuff from the Most High. And I'll just say this tonight, but I have more to share at another time. But I have thought or have felt in my heart for a very long time that maybe I should go somewhere outside of this landmass, maybe in, I don't know, Costa Rica or somewhere. I'm not exactly sure,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll keep praying about it. But maybe find a way to get or acquire some land.
Right.
At one point I was on this mission of going back to Africa. I was determined I was going to
Mm-hmm.
go back to the continent and buy this land and bring my people home.
Mm-hmm.
But now I realize that part of me is native to this landmass. So maybe I need to do something else on a larger scale so people can come and feel welcome and either live there or do sabbaticals or something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
just feel really
Mm-hmm.
called to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I find it kind of ironic that I didn't felt the same way, Erica.
Really?
Me too.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That you
Went
feel
went
so
went to Africa. Did the whole
that you
yeah.
feel so boxed in that or it's no solutions here that you feel that maybe it's solutions for us elsewhere.
Right.
But then when you dive, to me, it's my opinion, but when you dive into that, I think we, like I said, the progression goes backwards, and I think it's not advantageous for us. I think it's more, I think the ideology or like the foundation of Black American movement is that we did this here,
Hmm.
so we got a stake here, so it's not like I'm from Detroit, man. I want to leave and go to Alabama, but my kids is here,
Hmm.
and it'd be foolish. I got grandkids here,
Hmm.
and it'd be selfish of me to think that they'll want to leave and go with me when that's my world. You get what I mean? So I gotta be where my world is at,
Yeah.
Well, when I did uh, venture to Africa, one thing it did teach me is that the nemesis is global, right? And I would rather be um, around people that I have the greatest history with and know the terrain and the this and the that.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because it ain't like you go over there and the nemesis ain't there. That
Hmm.
is for sure.
Hmm.
You know.
Hmm. I'm starting to
So.
find that out when I talk to more people who had the same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh wow. She said her son is retiring in Belize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just kind of I feel like I'm being pushed to the corners or like out from my area, and it's so hard to reconcile with that because in a way because I've always thought I would just be here in Prince George's County
Mm-hmm.
in Maryland. I would never go anywhere. So I have to go out and explore and find why I'm being called outside of this area. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to go on a journey and I'll be finding out soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That internal guidance will guide you. You
Hmm.
get. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you.
you know. Well, that was a deep one right there. That you gotta to leave to make something better here.
Hmm. I mean,
Well,
and our ancestors did too.
there's a tremendous amount of blood here
Hmm.
that has been spilt here, and it's our blood.
Hmm.
And there's a relationship to uh, land and blood. You know, so your ancestors' DNA is also in the land. You know, so it's powerful that we honor that wherever we are.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
one of the greatest tricks is that we were always here. We were always here. Now, uh, clearly, people from all over the world came here,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Africa came here, Europe came here, right? Philippines came, right? the islands, all of it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But we were here.
Mhm.
So we have to, we have to always keep that connection no matter where we go.
That's the truth, and it's ironic. One of the I can't find who said it, but one of the viewers just said that South America is part of our landmass, and that is true. Yeah, there
Hmm.
she is right there, French wee wee. Yep, that is true, and that's where I'll be going soon. I'll be going there in a couple of weeks.
Correct.
Mhm.
Because, all these different definitions, right, come from the people who steal the stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
We ain't
That's right.
thinking it but that way. It's just, north, south, whatever, right? They brown down there, just like us,
That's right.
Yeah,
and up north for that matter,
Mhm. That's right.
Canada and Canada and beyond.
That's right. My mom is indigenous to Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and
Correct.
that was in her DNA. And I honestly just thought I would find Africa in hers.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yep, all over the continent. That's all I thought I would find. So,
so
yeah.
just being accepting who you are is what
Mhm.
you're saying.
Mhm.
And I think that's,
Correct.
like you were trying to, we got a lot of conversation. A lot of people don't agree with being called African. And, a lot of people don't want to connect, but to each their own is what you're expressing. And even what me and Planet Wells is expressing, like you said, we've been here. And no matter where that here is at, you know,
Mhm.
we got
Correct.
some good comments coming in from, I'm paying attention
Hmm.
to the chat. So we got Regina Harris. She says, "Peace and love and soul train to the copper colored hues and melanin of Turtle Island. Another great and informative show with the guests, ladies, along with Hannibal James and Planet Wells. Thank you, Regina. Glad you
Thank
tuned
you.
in. And
Absolutely.
that's the
Yes.
mission, and that's the awareness is that we're trying to bring to our audience is what's currently happening and what currently happened. Both perspectives, what happened and what's currently happening now. And I think if we keep doing that, I think we all can learn. And I think we'll find ourselves them different levels we at. We'll find ourselves on one level if we keep doing that.
Correct. Correct. And
So
it's so powerful that you're here, sister,
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. That
for
means a lot.
real,
I feel it.
right?
yeah,
Thank
Because
you.
you bring that frequency, and that frequency brings balance,
Mm.
you know? And we really, really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to joining you all again.
we glad
Absolutely.
to see you.
Thank you.
We always welcome here.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.